Hello, welcome to the show. My name is John Richardson, and you're listening to the Richardson's Rubicon podcast. Coming up very shortly, I've got an interview I did with Dr. Larry Smith, who is the author of 2084, The Neuroxone Conspiracy. I had a great chat with him, and he landed 9 world building points in speculative fiction, and he had the detail on those to a T. It's an absolutely fantastic, even if I do say so myself, interview. Loved it, absolutely loved it. So thank you, Dr. Larry Smith. You got what the show is about, and you provided in abundance. So thank you very much, and I wish you all the best for your book. If anyone does want to be on the show, it's about world building and speculative fiction, and you can join up using the website at richardsonsrubicon.com. It's fairly obvious what you need to do there. And also you can see me on Podmatch, and you can get that by going to rubypod.link/podmatch. And that takes you through there, and you can see what Podmatch is all about. Anyway, on with the show. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is John Richardson, and you're watching or listening to the Richardson's Rubicon podcast. I've got with me today Dr. Larry Smith, who is the author of 2084, The Neuroxone Conspiracy. And this is a dystopian, a dystopian medical thriller, I would imagine. Have I got that right?
Yes, you got it right.
Right. Hurrah! I got a second. I've got some applause here. Hold on a second. Oh, it didn't work. Never mind. Right, okay. So, can you tell me more about your book then, please?
Okay. Well, we're set in the year 2084, and
Yeah.
we've got a drug that promises freedom from addiction, but it's at the cost of choice, memory, and something more sinister. And there's a new act called the Compulsory Addiction Recovery Enforcement Act, where traditional recovery from addiction is now deemed incompliant. And there's a pharmaceutical company called Superior Pharmaceuticals, and it has a miracle drug, and it is called Neuroxone. And this has become the only sanctioned solution to addiction. And basically, abstinence-based recovery has been erased, and the drug's long-term consequences remain buried beneath government mandates and corporate control. The head of the Superior Pharmaceuticals is Ashcroft Stanton, and he presides over this new order with absolute confidence. And he has an enforcer named Rachel, and she's forced to confront the human suffering hidden behind the policy she enforces. But as cracks form in the system, three unlikely allies emerge. A journalist connected to the forgotten legacy of AA, whose name is William Wilson, a grieving physician, Dr. Berger, and a scientist forced to choose between his career and his conscience. Together, they uncover a conspiracy designed to eliminate abstinence-based recovery, autonomy, and dissent. Time's running out. Compliance is mandatory. Resistance is dangerous. In a world where addiction is cured by force and truth is controlled by power, the fight for recovery becomes a fight for humanity itself.
Mm-hmm. High stakes.
There are high stakes, John.
Definitely. So, obviously, this is is it alcohol addiction?
Is alcohol and drugs.
And drugs.
Yes.
So, and some of this is born out from, the reason you're writing this book, or rather, not the reason you're writing, but it's based on personal experience to a certain extent, isn't it?
Correct.
You're a survivor, if you like.
Yes, I'm a survivor. I'm a person in recovery. I have been so for about 26 years now.
Right.
Going on 27. So I know of what I speak for keeping a straight and narrow line.
Yeah, definitely. So you probably need to help me then. Anyway.
We can talk after.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to write this book then, just to give me a rough idea? Because it's out in August, isn't it? It's out in August.
It's out in August. Well, I had an idea in my mind for about 3 years ago, but it wasn't until I wrote my memoir, Johnny and Me, which was just published last year, that I really started writing it. So it's probably a year and a half, 2 years into the making. But really, once I got going on it, it was I worked day and night for about 6 to 9 months once I had the ideas and the characters. So it was a slow burn until I got going into it. And the reason I started writing it was stress release from the other book. Then I realized what I'd gotten myself into. So
that's good. That's good.
I know, it kind of doesn't make sense, does it?
No, I know, but it's brilliant though, isn't it? It's like, oh my God, I've had enough of this book. Let me just write another.
Yeah, and as with most, I wanted to quit several times, going, "This is terrible." And the next day, "Oh no, this is great."
No, this is great. Yeah, yeah. So obviously, you've had a few challenges then. So this world that this book takes place in, 2084, is obviously near future, really, isn't it? So,
yes.
You know, what's different?
It looks the same in a lot of ways, but it's different. So let's start with what's the same. The same is that addiction has gotten worse. It has become such a terrible problem that it needs to be dealt with. And what's different is, instead of having several routes of recovery to combat addiction, we now have one route of recovery, which is a drug called Neuroxone, which it doesn't just stop cravings, it erases them. And that's the big difference. And it was based on a drug that's already in use right now called Suboxone, which basically it stops people from craving. But so I decided I would invent a fictitious molecule that would actually erase it. So, and this has provided very, very good results for alcohol and drugs, especially the opiates. But what's happening now, though, is what the drug company is not telling you is what the side effects are, which appear. Some of them don't appear for about 4 or 5 years after you start taking the drug. And then for a certain subset, there are things such as flat affect. But these are all being hidden from the public, or they're being blamed on the person's addiction. So, as I say, it does erase cravings, but it's also erasing other forms of therapy.
Okay. So with this nasty evil drug, by the sounds of it, and the fact that things are being covered up and so on and so forth, sorry, what country does this take place in?
Well, this is actually in Canada, and the most of it is situated in my hometown of Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Right, okay.
I wanted to get that in there for a number of logistical reasons, just some of the scenery, and then I have the sports team. The Winnipeg Jets were involved too, which I will come to later. So yes, Winnipeg, Canada, but the Superior Pharmaceuticals, that is their main office is in New York. They have offices all over the world, but one of their subsidiary offices was right in Winnipeg, downtown Portage and Main.
Right, okay. So it's interesting then, you've picked a familiar location for, I guess, where the bulk of the story takes place, but you've picked also Superior Pharmaceuticals, which I suppose the name speaks for itself, right? And it's in that country that's just over that border from you.
Yes, called the United States.
Yeah.
Didn't want to say that, did you, John?
No. Well, I don't mind. I'm over here in Scotland, so I can just hide.
I'm a lot closer than you are.
So now, with this being sort of a little bit cloak and dagger in terms of they're giving people this drug, which has got side effects and whatnot, and it's all hush hush and kept under the radar, at least the effects are. You've got some form of controlling government there who is supporting that stance, I would take it. Is that
yes.
right? Okay.
Yes. They have fallen under the influence, and they have bought everything the drug company is selling them. And to give
Right.
the drug company credit, they have a lot of the facts and a lot of the data,
Yeah.
but it's the data they want to show you.
Of course. Of course. Okay.
And you might have heard this before too. We have trials for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, but after that they mysteriously get lost
No.
or never published. So yes.
Right.
So this is used to coerce the government and saying you can't let people keep dying.
Right. Okay. So just to expand on that a little bit, then you're saying that this superior pharmacy thing, perhaps fraudulently creating stats to force the government to give people this drug. Is that right?
It's not.
And the motivation, I guess, is money.
They've convinced them that it's the safest way to stop addiction, and on the surface and in the beginning, it is working very, very well.
Right.
But as I say, once all these side effects come out, it's that's a different story. But as you say, is the drug company convincing? They're saying, though, because it's such a serious problem, we can't have other forms of therapy being involved. This has to be the only solution. So this has become mandated. So everybody who is diagnosed with this condition of addiction, be it to alcohol, drugs, they must take Neuroxone, and it comes in a patch, it comes in a pill, and it comes in an implant. So they thought of everything.
Every method of delivery, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
At the appropriate price point.
At the appropriate price point. Yeah. So I guess is it covered under insurance?
Oh, actually, that's the whole thing. Is when you're going to get a monopoly, you get the government involved, you get the insurance companies involved because you're showing results.
Right.
So yes. Okay.
So you say I used to be a governance person, so I'm looking at the whole sort of who's the structure here, who's in charge, where are the rules coming from, and how are they supported? And you're kind of basically saying money is the root of all evil, which has always been the case, I think, hasn't it? Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I'll have to go with that. And then it's control. There's a certain amount of the power of control.
Yeah, yeah. So are we looking at a totalitarian, or is it just dystopian, dysfunctional?
I wouldn't say totalitarian. I would talk. It's a dystopian because of the fact they're shutting down abstinence-based therapy as being ineffective. And they're shutting down all the other competition, all the drugs that were used before. They're basically now, they're not good enough. We have to stop this. This is the only solution. And the government has bought what Superior Pharmaceuticals is selling. Okay.
What about the other companies then? Did they fight against this in any way?
No, this didn't come up in the book, but they have the patent on it. And this is something they've worked on. So basically, they're the only player.
Right, okay. But there's no real pushback from the other companies because that just kind of didn't happen with it being mandated, I suppose. But yeah. I would have thought some other companies would have perhaps given it a bit of a fight. But
if you add on to it the 7-year period where they lose the patent, then that might have happened. But here, they're the only game in town. So
gotcha. Okay, wonderful. So I briefly in the pre-show chat we briefly spoke about technology, because I think in 2084 you said yourself you were looking at something that was very near future and not a lot of changes have been made. Can you just give us a couple of examples of changes that have been made? Technology-wise.
Technology-wise is we have the floating computers in front of you, and so instead of the screens, they're floating holograms. That is the main thing that we have here. And the other thing we have.
Sorry, what do they do?
Well, it's basically if we're at a meeting, we don't have to be holding our iPads; they're floating right in front of us.
Right. Okay.
And the other thing, it may not be new, but they're using now to determine compliance is the retinal scans. So people are required to take the drug. You can have, of course, the blood and the urine, but for the masses who are in what are they called, the enclaves, they want to get quick results to see if they're taking the medication. They just use the retinal scans, and it takes all of 2 seconds, and it'll show up on there. I don't go into too much detail, just enough to whet the interest.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are completely different methods, aren't there? They're sort of like build all of the technology stacks and, have everything layered so that everyone knows that that piece of technology came from that bit of technology, came from that bit of technology. Or there's the, if you're not a technical person, for example, you would probably just want to go for this is a screen that they use, and just mention it that they use it and don't go too far into the detail. So, both of which are entirely valid depending on what the main thrust of your book is. And the main thrust of your book is about the addiction therapy, really, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. And you don't want to get too sidetracked with the the technology aspect, I guess.
But you have to have it, and it is fun.
Yeah.
But as I was telling you before too, we still have the archaic flash drive.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, we've still got pen and paper, but flash drive. Oh man.
That's in the same era as pen and paper. Well, I use all. I says I'm not a tech person, but in order to do it, look at what we're doing here today. You have to keep up with it. So
you've got.
But I still write in my journal every day, and I still use the technology when I don't know. I've got all sorts of IT people around me, and I don't understand. I don't know about you, but I'm older.
I understand, but I'm starting to get the feeling now that I'm starting to get a little bit left behind. I've got to say, there's a few bits that I'm not really that fussed about learning. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so who's the president? Have we got a president of the United States?
Oh, it's not mentioned.
All right, okay. I'm assuming the orange one is gone then.
The orange one is gone.
That's good. So,
all I'll say with is the blue states and red states. All of the superior pharmaceuticals was able to pass legislation where all blue states and red states were basically, they agreed that this Neuroxone was the only treatment for addiction recovery. It's only when they run up into Canada, and especially up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, that they had a problem. So the president of the pharmaceutical company, Ashcroft Stanton, didn't like this because he wanted to start expanding beyond North America. So that's where we're seeing the resistance happening. Is right there. So if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. So what form does that resistance take?
Okay, so we're going to have to go into the first character, who is William Wilson, and he happens to be the great-grandson of Bill W., the founder of AA. And basically his job, he's an award-winning journalist, nice guy. He's been covering a lot of topics, especially addiction recovery, and he's basically been following superior pharmaceuticals and following all the facts and all the trials, and he's actually very impressed with it in the beginning and saying, it is working, it's doing what it says. And of course the president of the company really likes him because he says he's being fair. So what happens though is William runs into people who tip him off. There's something that's not quite right here. You have to look into this. And this is where the drama starts. And the other characters involved here are Dr. Richard Berger and Dr. Hector Alvarez. Dr. Berger is a medical doctor working with addiction, neuropharmacology, and Hector Alvarez is a research scientist at the University of Western States. What they did is they combined all the universities and put them under one big title. Yeah. So that's my former University of Manitoba would have been swallowed up.
Right.
And of course, who funded it was Superior Pharmaceuticals. So they have a little bit of influence, shall we say. So anyway, back to the resistance. It comes from William Wilson, and he meets Hector and Dr. Berger, and they start to find out. They put two and two together and go through old archives, and they find things that are very, very unsettling.
Right. Okay. Da, da, da. Great. So, whilst you were writing this book, you mentioned about the characters earlier and just now. You did a lot of work on creating the characters first, didn't you? Which is interesting.
Yeah, correct. Dr. Berger is named after my late friend Neil, and he is basically the one who planted the seed for the novel here, because he was also a person in recovery as well. And I think 5 or 10 years into it, he said something profound to me. He said, "Larry, the addiction recovery business is being hijacked by the pharmaceutical companies." And I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" I said, "I don't know what you mean." He said, "The drug companies are taking over treatment. We're no longer having abstinence-based care. We're not having heart-to-heart connection with people helping people. They're wanting to prescribe medications that are erasing the craving, which, okay, it does provide a benefit and it is useful, but what they're doing it is at the expense of what was working before." And he says, "And I don't like it, because all the decisions and policy making are being made through the lobbying of the pharmaceutical companies." And so this stuck in my brain, and watching over the years, I would basically knew what he was talking about after. But for me, I'm just doing it the old-fashioned way. I should say, by the way, there are several roads to Rome. It doesn't matter which one you use, but you should have the choice. And that's one of the things I talk about, is compliance versus choice. This book, Neuroxone, is all about, you must take this, nothing else is allowed.
Yeah. So at the heart of this, really, you've got a moral issue, haven't you, really, I suppose?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's really good. So what difficulties did you have when you were writing the book? I mean, you said that you took around, I don't know, I can't remember now, about a year to write it or so, but which is, some people might consider that a short period of time. And so I know some people might consider it a long period of time. But to you, how was it? And what did you find that the main challenges were?
Okay, well, I'll tell you what worked in the beginning, too, is by developing the characters, I knew exactly what was going on. I wanted to invent a fictitious drug, and it's called Neuroxone, and it's just, I won't get too technical, but it's based on a drug that's available today called Suboxone, and also a neurological drug called Neurontin. You just combine all that together. I said, we got to make this stronger. And so basically, I had the idea in mind too, this is going to be so strong, this is going to be the only allowed treatment, and it's going to affect people like me who want to do it the old way. So the problem writing, though, was I just didn't know with my characters what type of conflicts we were going to have to put them through and to go through that. And so what I did is I just created a few chapters where I had basically I theorized what conflicts would they have that worked, but still I'm going, this is not good. I need more material. So I heard somewhere through the grapevine, why don't you write the ending first? And so I wrote the ending, thought it was good. Then I changed it again, and then I changed it again. But once I had the ending I wanted, I was able to go back to, okay, now I know what we need to do. It was an amazing process. I wanted to quit so many times. Says, first of all, we have to bring it into the open, and we have to have a big convention where they're just selling. They're trying to put their final mark on it. And then secondly, we need to have a resistance who is going to have a press conference. And then we need some social media in there, because as you know, not sometimes, media can be controlled by various interests, be you left or right or center. Yeah. So that was some of the difficulties. Once I got that going, then it started to roll. But again, timeline was another one too. Once I started going 2084, I says, actually, this could be 2044 or 2054, but I'm committed. I like George Orwell, 1984. I'm sticking with it.
You're sticking. Oh, really? Is that why?
I'm sticking with it. I
Right.
just I like the sound of it. It's not far off, and it's fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I like the approach of writing the ending first. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was another author I just recently interviewed, or maybe just put out. I can't remember, but he basically said, was it he or it could have been she? I think it was she, right? But she wrote the. She got to the ending first, and then she realized what she was going to do with the characters as well. So I guess it's more common than what we think, really. You know.
I'm sure I didn't invent it. All I knew I was panicking.
I didn't say that.
I'm panicking, and when I'm starting to write the ending, and I thought it was really good, but within 24 hours, I'm going, no, this sucks. I have to change it. So
right.
it's like listening to Homer Simpson. Go, woohoo! Dough! Woohoo! Dough!
I'm sure people will sympathize with that.
But it was such this is the first work adventure into fiction, so it was different. Or when I'm writing experiential, this has actually happened. Remembering is a problem, but I'm remembering to the best of my ability. Here, I'm trying to invent something. Is it plausible? And the one thing I come to is this a warning? Could this happen? And I talk to people, almost everybody goes, this could happen. They were just this is so good. I mentioned it to them. They were so.
Again, it's all about this. It's all about the money, honey. So
we live in that world, don't we?
We do live in that world. So, and whilst things were, you can imagine 100 years ago, things were sort of like for the people. It was all for the people and the benefit of the people. I mean, worldwide. I mean, everywhere really was sort of the government was for the people rather than for the opportunity to make money. Whereas recently, it seems to be all about making money. So it's not.
Yeah, it's
not a million miles away, is it?
No.
And I do think you should have changed it to 2048 or maybe 2027.
My editor actually said that to me. She said, you didn't have to go that far. Yeah. That's exactly what she said to me.
Right. Wow. So you've done all of that. You've got three main characters you've got there? Actually,
there's four.
Four, is there? I missed one then. Sorry.
Well, we have William Wilson, the journalist. We have Ashcroft Stanton, who's the president of Superior Pharmaceuticals. We have Hector Alvarez, the researcher, and then we have the enforcer of Stanton, who is Rachel, and she's ex-military. She puts into place a lot of the dirty deeds.
Right. Okay.
And she's one of my favorite characters because she goes through a character arc like no other.
Really?
Because she does all the dirty work and realizes, yes, it hit her hard.
Oh, right. Well, we'll say no more because we don't want to spoil it, do we? So
no,
we don't want to go
just
there.
Give them a little hint there.
That's right. Yeah. So, in terms of the world itself, again, I mean, it's very similar to our world. Very little has changed technology-wise, I take it, right? But the government is more prone to commercial favor than it even is now. And again, a bastion of, I don't know, people's rights and freedom seems to be the country. Is it still known as Canada?
Yes.
It is? Right, okay.
Yes. Yeah, so what was I going to say? The government has been influenced by the drug companies, but I think the main thing to realize here is they have been told, you need a cure, people are dying, you need to save lives, and if you save lives, you're going to stay in power. Here it is, and we have all the facts. So that's where they got them. It's going to work to their benefit, to the citizens of a country. If you love your country, and look they've done it in the States too. Why aren't you doing it over here?
Why aren't you doing it over here?
Yeah.
So I did have a question that was sort of bubbling away there,
Yeah.
and it was on about what form would the resistance to this take, yeah, which I'm assuming you've got worked out to a large extent.
Yeah, the resistance was going to have to get, it needed amplification. So where we have this from is from William Wilson's, his former partner, Karine, she runs a business called People Helping People, PHP, and she's got about 50 million followers. So there was a breakup between Karine and William, but they remained friends. I won't go into the specific details there. She was still fond of him, but she said she would do him any type of favor. And so I guess the whole thing is once you find out that something is corrupt, that the system is corrupt, we have side effects, we have people dying from side effects, it needs to go to the masses, and you can't necessarily trust mainstream media, which of course can be controlled. But social media, if you have 50 million followers, that is going to be repeated all over the place. So that's the main form of the resistance.
So that's the resistance.
It's there because anybody who doesn't comply, which is, I don't know if you want me to go into it now, but if you comply, you have all the privileges in society. So if they catch you, you're a professional hockey player and you're addicted, you've done things, the agreement with the Players Association is, okay, you made a mistake, here's the treatment. If you do what you're supposed to, everything is good. If you don't do this treatment, you're on your own, and we won't, the team will cut you.
Right.
And this goes again for the, I won't say the lower rungs of society, but the people who are unhoused, living in a place called the enclaves. They're basically forced with different methods. We're concerned. You have a problem. We have the solution, and if you take the solution, we are going to provide you with food vouchers. We're going to provide you with accommodation. But if you don't, you're not going to get that. So and if it goes to the regular working man too, you're caught. Even if it's for something silly, a bad weekend, and you did something really, really bad and you embarrassed yourself, it will all go away if you go on medication.
Sounds like a fantastic weekend to me. That's all I'm going to say.
So it hits all levels of society, and the enforcement is it's actually quite ingenious. As we saw what happened back in the COVID era, too.
Yeah.
What you were required to do.
It's very strange, isn't it? Even thinking back to that, it's very hard to believe that everybody was staying in and, not going to work and things like that. It just seems very strange thinking back on it now. But it was quite the switch flip, wasn't it? It was like, quite sudden.
I had no trouble forgetting about it. I have no trouble forgetting about it.
Yeah, it was.
So what do I do? I write a fiction story where I'm bringing it back up too. Oh, I'm the creator of my own doom.
Oh God, here we go. Right then, so. Have you got anything else to mention about it? Were there any other specific challenges? Have you got anything to say about the world that you created, the government, or the pharmaceuticals? I think we've covered most of it, in all fairness. So I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that we could pick from it. Do you have any suggestions at all?
It's the gradual. How did a company get so powerful? And it's the gradual erosion of control. If we can go down that bit. So you have the wonder drug. Where did it come from? And it just can't have evolved. So that's where you go back in time 40 or 50 years before 2084. They had the precursor, and this comes. It was a failed drug for chemotherapy. This is what the drug company wouldn't tell you, but that's how it started. but they found it worked well with addiction. But of course, you can hide that in all your data to be sure. But in order to get people to listen to you, you have to run trials and studies. But that's why you have the president of the company. He knows how to massage data.
Yeah.
So you get a few trials going in there. We've got this new medication. Take a look at it. We're running more trials. And then 5 years later, you know what? We've done so well. We've developed something even better. And the governors and the red and the blue states, we need something because we're dying here. Show us. We trust you. And and the same as in Canada, show us. We'll trust you. So when you have this low, progressive show of data, things are working, and the government gets the confidence in the company, then you can see it how it progressed. But the one main element here, what they were finding though, is we have too many cures. We have abstinence-based care. And you know what? With that, there's no prescriptions prescribed.
No.
There's no prescriptions prescribed.
No money.
We can't have this. So how are you going to deal with that? You start attacking it. This has never been proven. This is old. This is dinosaur. We have something better. Yes, it may have worked for a few people. You minimize it and you maximize your own. And so, but you can't do it over a year or 2 or 3, 10, 20. And so eventually you get the confidence of the government. And as they say, the crisis gets big enough. We have a solution for it. God, what is it? We'll take it because I want to stay in power. And we have to help people. So that's the whole gradual change from how did this come about. And I've written about it in fair detail. Then it makes more sense. Otherwise, too, is wouldn't people resist? Well, they did, but they were kind of shut out because they didn't have the data behind it. And you're dealing with a great conglomerate.
Yeah, they were dealt with as fringe, probably, were they? Fringe opinions and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So, it's in August. Have you got a website at all?
drlarrysmithauthor.com.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll send people along to that then.
Yeah.
And they can catch up on the other book that you did, which was, what was Johnny and Me or something?
Johnny and Me, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's your kind of like story, isn't it, really?
That's my story. It's a memoir, and it's available in all bookstores across the world. So, but you can get it from my website as well, wherever you like. And that one, I really enjoyed that writing, and I really enjoyed writing 2084. It was just something I knew I needed to do because it's a warning. This could happen, and we're having people who I've been telling the story about. They're saying, "Man, this could happen." So that's where we have to have here. What I'm a proponent of having lived experience at the table. People who have recovered, done it the way I've done, or done it whatever way. We need to be at the recovery table when people are making policies. Otherwise, this is going to be happen. So that's the message. You can't have just policymakers influenced by pharmaceutical companies, and because this is what's happening right now.
Okay.
And I'm not too far off with that.
No. Okay. So just to swing it back to the world building aspect, it's a near future. You've plotted the trajectory of the way that commercial interests can sometimes overtake the interests of the people. You've also identified how governments can be seduced by some of the stuff that these companies can do. And you've also, in terms of the world building, you've basically gone near future, not introduced that much tech, didn't see the need of it, just introduced little bits here and there. And in terms of the resistance to the this drug, if you like, would be less so from America because they've already been, I don't know, convinced, if that's the right word.
Yes.
Whereas in Canada, slightly less so. And
Old
also,
old-fashioned recovery.
That's right, yeah. So there we are, isn't it? Really, that's
Yeah.
your world building in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's
And
compliance versus choice.
yeah, and the method of writing was figure out the ending first, get your characters, which you've already got because you wanted to have some for personal reasons, have them in there, and then basically just weave it backwards. In fact, you probably started at the end, then you started at the beginning, and then wove it. So
Yeah.
I would imagine, yeah.
It's essentially, I didn't mean to start it that way, but that's what happened.
That's
That's
great.
exactly what happened.
know.
And it was exciting when I realized I could actually do it, because I just, like with most writers, I wanted to throw it in the garbage about 10 times. So I can't do this. I can't do this.
Well, in the other episode I was on about, Murder on the Orient Express came up, right? Because if you've watched it, you know what the ending is. You know who did it. And it's very much a case of you couldn't have known that if you'd written the book from the very beginning without that knowledge.
No.
So, I think it's if they're writing the book, with the ending already in place, and you're in good company.
Yes. Well, it's my favorite genre reading now is the dystopian. But I figured I had to add the medical thriller part in it too. But I've been reading a lot of Margaret Atwood, and her world building is just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, where do you come up with this? And the thing is it's based on real world, and she keeps saying that too. So that's why I'm basing this on what I see here. All we have to do is extrapolate it a little bit, and there you see this can happen. Yeah. Here's the warning shot. A lot will agree with me, and there's going to be people who don't like what I'm saying, and that's good, because I think we need to have that conversation.
That's right.
We didn't need to have everybody at the table, because I think we're all wanting to see help with addiction. We just can't let people keep ruining their lives, especially with stronger and stronger drugs coming along. So we need to have lived experience at the table. We need to have addiction doctors. We need to have the government on board and the drug companies, because there is a place for it. But it just can't be total control.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for your time then, Dr. Larry Smith, and your book, 2084, The Neuroxone Conspiracy.